especially at the elementary school level. Finding ways to keep children engaged, we know, is sometimes hard to do. They absolutely love to create this content to share out for others. So there is a QR code here which will give you a tips sheet folder. However, if you miss it right now, it'll be backed up at the end, and you're welcome. It is a Dropbox folder. You should have to log in to get access to it. If you do have difficulties, if you take a picture of this slide, you can email one of us and we'll make sure you get the information. So we're going to kind of split things. I'm going to work with primary K-2 stuff, and then Veronica will take over for 3 to 5, and we'll talk about different examples of how we're creating digital literacy and digital content in our classrooms. So kindergarten, one of the things they do every year in the spring is they create their own books in groups. So each child has a page, and they have a running story. They have to decide what they're going to write, and they have to work together, and they're supposed to have a beginning, middle, and end. And then we come in, and they take pictures of the books, and then we record them reading the story. So here's an example.
The first is a rescue by Aidan. Let's have Grace, Carson, and Caleb. It's upon a time.
So it's not changing pages in here.
Was in shop the scuba.
So you get the idea. The students are reading the book, and then we have a premiere in the kindergarten classes. Parents come in and they get to see the digital stuff up on the main screen. They also can get digital copies of it for their preservation later when the child is getting married or something. Going to Harvard. So we created this simply in iMovie. We just video recorded it. I'm touching things. Here, when the grade levels are doing cardinal directions in kindergarten, we have a science fair which we turn into a transformative fair every year, and so we try to find different ways to continue with the digital literacy and incorporate with math skills. So this is a brochure that is handed out to school board members and different people who come and tour the school during the day for the transformative part. And we have the kindergartners giving them directions using iMotion and iMovie. Again, most of the stuff I'm going to show you today, if not all of it, is free. So you're not paying for any of it. Okay.
You're done.
We have special needs students.
Now you're in 5th grade.
Okay. So they're going to be, so if you were to, it's not live anymore, but if you were to QR, say you wanted to go to the first grade plants or 5th grade, it would give you a map of the hallway and how to get there. So a lot of grades do plants or some form of plants throughout the grades. Well, in first grade, they're learning the parts. And so using Cheddar Kids, if you're familiar with that, or Cheddar Picks, the kids used flip books. They created their own. And then we would take one, so it could be any one of the one in the group, because then they had to do a report on as a team, like maybe 3 or 4 different kids. Each had a part, and they're telling you now the parts of the plant after they have gone through the, so it's kind of like a finish off the project. They've already created the book, they've gone through the study, and then we turn it into digital content, and then they can share it or they can review it before an assessment. Sometimes they use it for different classes and different grade levels to share out.
Flowers traps bugs. Seeds grow here. Seeds go into plants. Leaves make food for the plant. Photosynthesis is when the plant uses the sun to make food. Stem holds up the plant and carries you onto. Roots hold the plant and carry water.
So they all had a role. They all created their own flip books, but then they had a group project at the end that they all have to contribute to. So you want the student with the photosynthesis vocabulary. Yeah, right. This was first grade. So again, we did this incorporating taking smashing apps, taking Chatter Kits, and then once each piece was created, we drop in an iMovie and throw that. You know, it's as simple as that. And then we save it to the camera roll. So second grade, first grade again. First grade example. Super duper storybook maker costs money. We didn't want to purchase it. So a workaround around it, because we really like the template, how it's got the little, you know, on the sides and stuff, is, okay, you ready for this? Screenshotting. That's how we do it. And then we drop it in iMovie. Don't tell anyone. So the students have created, again, they start on paper, they've gone through their book, it's been edited, and then their final product is returned into digital content. And then we take it and we put it on what's our public student drive for the students, and then the kids during reading rotations can then sit at a computer and access the books they've created. And they love it. And when they're fellow first grade classes, if you started with one class, got that one done, and so they love to see each other's work, and share. That's one of the most popular ones that they're working. Once they're finished, all the kids are, can I get on the computer to do, you know, during center time? Because they want to listen to the stories. This was,
don't let the cat have a kitten. By cat.
Yeah.
Meow, meow. What just happened? You know what I've always wanted? No, not a mouse or a cat. It's a
Here she forgot to crop it, but you simply crop it when you're getting ready to use the paging in that.
But she or he will be so cute. No, again, no favor. You'll say, oh, I can have a kitten. Yay, she will be so cute. And her name is Kristen.
So working on fluency, expression, and of course this was Elephant and Piggy books that they were taking that content and changing it to their own. So that was Super Duper Storybook Maker in iMovie. Second grade habitat, trying to find different ways. Typically the students it was a take-home project, and we're really big on who does the projects at home. And so this was one of my ideas with second grade, because you're grading that. So it's great if it's supposed to be a family project or whatever, but you're grading a project that came in from home. It has its purpose sometimes, but to see if the students really know the content. And this was a multifaceted project because they had to do a writing project. They had to do research first. They had to find out what habitat, what creature. It was, as you can see, there's non-living, living things in there, and they had to point all these out. So it was cross-curricular, and they did receive grades from different, like, writing content, incorporating the research part. They were not grading the artwork. This is Pixie. Wixie is the same. It is a buying. You have to subscribe to it this month. But so then they went into the lab and they created a Pixie, which is their background, and then we took them through it in iMovie so that they could create the report part, the live talking.
My name is Alex. Rattlesnakes live in the forest. Did you know rattlesnakes eat frogs and rats and mice? Their habitats can be logs and trees. Rattlesnakes can be predators. Rattlesnakes and frogs are living things. The logs and rocks are non-living things. In my habitat, did you know that rattlesnakes are poisonous?
Okay. And then we take these when we have our transformative fair. When it used to be later in the year, it's kind of switch up a little because we changed to January. But we would take these and QR them, and we would put them up on the walls. And then when the parents came in, it was just a picture like this on the wall with a QR code attached to it. And so when they QR'd it, they saw what you just saw. Okay. And the kids, the grade levels, like 3rd through 5th would come tour the school, and the kids will have iPods and stuff, and the older kids would be able to QR too, as well as the kids. This is Famous Americans. This love Tough Love Love. If you haven't heard of the green screen by Doing That, it is phenomenal and extremely easy to use. We created this with video first. The children are just videoed in the with an iPad in the video part of the camera, and up against the green screen with the backdrop. Biggest clue is when you first started, if you've never green screen, don't tell them not to touch it. They like to bounce their rear ends off of it, and then you see the shadowing effect the entire time behind them. They learn that, especially when they're videoing themselves, each other in groups. They learn real quick. But this was iMovie and green screen. Green screen is a paid app.
Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929 to Reverend Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. King was a middle child between an older sister and a younger brother. King's legal name at birth was Michael King, but his father changed his name after a trip to Germany. King attended Booker T. Washington High School. He was so smart that he skipped 2 grades in high school. He started his college at Morehouse College at the age of 15. Martin got a divinity degree from early seminary and then got his doctor's degree in theology from Boston University. Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights activist and was
All right, whoops, let me go back. So you see, she was actually, there were students recording her. There were kind of like teleprompters. She practiced, but it helped keep her on task. So she knew where she was and what she was saying. This was actually, these were for extent kids, why some of the other kids were doing other tasks, trying to learn remediate, so a little differentiation. They chose, this was kind of their idea to create these projects, just to take it a little step further. But we do this with our special needs kids too, and they're just as successful.
Okay, in 3rd grade, we use several different things or resources. Lego Story Starter is one that we also use, and just like with the others, we are using other things along with it. So we're using Lego Story Starters, but we're also incorporating Chatter Kids and iMovie to get the final product.
This is for the G-force and space travel. These kids really spin us fast. The girl can lift the rubber to change the tire I hope I can get up this inclined plane to the space station. Vroom.
Information in there also.
Yeah. Little simple machines. I just came from that. I'm talking about that.
Here we have 4th graders, and they're using Puppet Pals, whereas they're taking puppets and actually using the puppets to tell a story or something. And you can use it in several different ways. One of the ways that they're using it here is telling a story
Yeah, for the revolution.
of the revolution.
the Revolutionary War time. And today we are going to talk to King George III and a colonist named Beck. Walking along.
So as you can see, they
Hello,
have circulating
I am
social studies. One of the things I wanted to mention, you heard the background noise, it was in rotations during center, so they had background noise, but.
It's funny because these kids are actually my 5th graders now. So that's really funny. But you can use it in several different ways. Whereas you can do the revolution, or you can choose any type of information that the kids are using in the classroom. Here we have 4th grade, and again we're using the green screen by the way. And then we have a young man here. He is going to be talking about the weather using the green screen. So.
And I will say, you'll notice that there'll be special needs kids and stuff coming in and out. So the grouping can be however it works for them.
Yes.
And they get to have the part and stake, and the parents saw this and just about started bawling because the child did fantastic. Was able to do the part.
Hello, everybody. I am Lily Bachelor.
Of course, they had to have
We
access.
go through our news. And today we have cold fronts pushing up from the south. And warm fronts pushing down from the north. So we expect a tornado in Yorktown, Virginia. Good question. A cold front is cold air pushing warm air out of its air. And for a warm front, it is warm air pushing cold air out of its air. That is a really good question. So, tornadoes are warm and cold air flying from two opposite places. When they collide, they make a super electromagnetic wave. It is thought to be on their feet falling from the sky from August to December. Yeah. So when Indians make the people believe, whoa, we can get crazy. Oh my God, he's screaming from somewhere. Fishies. So,
So they were bringing in the content. Or clear and acting skills. It goes on for about 5 more minutes. So, I don't always videotape them. A lot of times they do themselves. I did get to help videotape these, and all the groups were hysterical. They were really funny. But they knew exactly the content that was being assessed.
Okay, here's actually a project that I did.
It's not live. Don't QR it.
Yeah. This is a project that I did in 5th grade. During the month of April, we try to do, that's Poetry Month. So during the month of April, we actually did part of our transformative fair was that we tried to take poetry and make it transformative. So what we did was we did a project that was called All About Me. And so the kids actually created poetry. And it was all about the best part of me is what it's called, sorry. It's called The Best Part of Me. So they chose parts of their body that they felt were the best part of them. So we had limitations, of course. So they chose like their hands, their ear, their hair, they chose different things. They wrote a poem about that. And then at the end of the year, we were like, okay, we have all this poetry, what are we gonna do with it? So I asked the librarian to actually put it into the library so that other students could actually have access to it. The students made their poems. I recorded them using a program called Vocaroo. And then after I did Vocaroo, I actually created a QR code. During our reading night, I actually posted these on the wall for the student, for everyone to see. So parents were able to go through their reading night. They were able to see their kids' poetry, to actually hear them reading it. And it also gave them time to practice fluency also. Another thing that I've also done is during the month of February, we did biographies. And with our biographies, the students could do African-American history, they could do women's history, they could also do presidents. So they chose a person that they wanted to do research on, and they did their report. I just put a picture outside with my QR code. I recorded them on Vocal. They actually read. So when other parents came by, students from the lower grades also. One of my second grade teachers, that's always her thing. She was like, okay, when are we gonna come around to listen? So the kids actually went around. They scanned it with a iPod, and they were able to listen to the fifth graders actually read. And then they were actually also able to check this out from the library and also scan it and listen to fifth graders. Okay.
Again, you know, the great thing about that is the fluency, the expression, they're getting to work on all that as they're grading their progress. Sorry, my mouse keeps disappearing.
This is also a project that we did in fifth grade. We have been doing, I think for the last 3 years, we've done a project, the water project, whereas we have asked the kids to go, I think it was for a week, without actually not drinking water, but they had to, for every amount of water that they drank, they had to, nothing but water, they had to like collect money. So we did this as a project where we were collecting money to send to third world countries that did not have the proper water resources. And at the end, we actually collected enough money to help build a well in parts of Africa that did not have the correct water or the right type of water or needed water resources. So this was some of the things that they did. The kids went through the process of what they did.
We are working on the water project in South Sudan, Kenya, and Rwanda.
They also tested the water in science, and so we made like aquifers. So this is one that they actually showed how they tested it with the aquifers.
So they were allowed to raise funds the night of the Transformative Science Fair as well. They stood around areas of the building showing their different projects that they did and asking for funds for.
And they actually made like the aquifers in front of everyone, and we were actually able to actually help build a well. And they sent us a picture of the well with Magruder Elementary's name on it. So that was pretty cool for the kids to actually see that.
That real world, experience.
All right, third and fifth grade, Edmodo, Yammer, and also Seesaw is another resource. The students actually did debates and social studies, showing opposing sides of an argument, whereas they were using Revolutionary War, Patriots, differences of opinion between the Patriots and Loyalists. We could do book talks. So these are some resources that we have used to get students involved in different things. It's book reviews. showing that they're understanding the differences between a patriot and a loyalist, and being able to use that as a way of showing that they understand.
This is one of our favorite things to do.
We do a lot of book reviews, and we try to get, and we did a lot of this, especially during our reading night. We do book reviews, and students use these as, they use different things. So we've used telecom, chatter kids, video, especially iMovies. Last year I did a lot of iMovies with my students, where they would actually read the book, and then they would sort of give a summary, or sometimes summary, or just tell what about the book they enjoyed. And you can use them in different ways. And you've seen her chatter kids, you can drop a little mouth on it and let it talk. Some students, they actually videotape themselves and talk about the movies. Here's Telecom where they use like the little emojis or whatever we call them, little people that actually give the review for them.
I'll play a couple. One that's really kind of fun is this, I remember with the kid one in the corner, there was a partner. They wanted to do it together. And so telegamy has its limitations. They both wanted to do it this way, so we had to smash it in iMovie. So we recorded them both separately in telegamy and then spliced it together. So you'll see, I'll play that one first.
Jeff Kinney. I rate this book 5 stars. Greg is trying to fit into middle school. He falls into some funny things along the way. My favorite character is Greg because he is really funny. Where does this book take place? Greg's house, school, and the blacktop. My favorite part is when Rally breaks his arm because he gets all the attention. Girls feed Rally and girls let him sit by them. As a girl, it is awesome because the girls look cute.
The girls look cute. One of the things they learned in this, and a lot of times when we do it the very first time, we don't give them a lot of how-to. Let them kind of figure out, as they learn they shouldn't have videoed the book, they should have taken a picture of the book. Okay. This one's fun because the pterodactyl, if that's what it is talking.
My name is Allison Taylor. The title of this book is Dinosaurs at Birth. The author is Mary Pope Osborne. My rating is 5-star rating. At the beginning, they find a treehouse. In the middle, went to...
Alright, and then this one is just a video.
The book I chose is David's Father. The author is Robert Martin. I give this book a rating of 5 stars. Do you like knives, figures, and Legos? Do you like spoons, better than trouble? Do you like fork?
Okay, so he had notes taped to the back of his book.
And once the kids start using these, the good thing about it is that they are almost like self-sufficient. They can go off and start to do it on their own, and they can, you know, you can use this as reading responses about what they're reading. So it's pretty cool to just see them sort of take off with it and go on in their own directions, you know. We also at our school we have what we call student authors. With our writing committee this year, one of the things, or last couple of years, what we've done is we've had students who, if they want to write a book or share what they've been writing, they have to go through the process of turning it into their teacher. We go through the editing process with them. When it's all finalized, they go through, they create their covers, they get it all typed up. We add a barcode on it for the library so that they can actually, other students can actually check it out of the library and read their classmates, or other students can read their work. So that's pretty cool. And she has a section in the library that's just for our student authors. And then at the end of the year, we have a celebration where they bring their books out. Other classes, parents come in and they can actually see, and we sort of celebrate them and taking on that that responsibility of getting their book actually published. So they really like that.
And one of the things we did in addition to the student authors, which we've been doing for a few years now, last year, we incorporated the student authors into our bedtime stories / learning in your living room. we use a session called Illuminate Blackboard. Some people in a session we talked last year at VSTE said that maybe Google Classroom or something may have some, but it depends on the limit size. Our kids through a iPad, any tablet, computer, laptop, they can either QR in or use like a bit.ly we create for them to get into the session. And they're at home in bed having what we call guest readers with their teachers or principals. Sometimes we collaborate with another school, and so we might have 2 schools online that night, and they chat down here, and the author, the guest reader, will answer to them, questions and stuff. And so the kids absolutely love it. We also do Read to Me for the lower kids, which is on the same platform, but it's during the school day, during like K-2 center rotations. They have the opportunity, instead of just, independent reading, they're on with somebody live who's reading and asking them questions and stuff like that. So you'll see in this next one, it's a video clip within a video, so it's kind of blurry, but I think you'll get the context of what's going on. So we put on our web page something like a flyer like that. It's the same QR code and the same URL login all year long, so they can keep it. We advertise to our guest readers. Sometimes we advertise to our guest readers, or sometimes we don't. Mystery ones. But we're talking about digital literacy in here, but we've expanded this to like math exemplars online. We've done cooking.
Home with the assistant principal.
Who doesn't cook? Was hysterical. I was at her house. It was really funny. And so the kids love it. They get on. Yes.
Can I interrupt you real quick? This is really cool. So is it something that you videotape and then you do?
It's live.
It's live.
It is live.
So
I was sitting at
which
home.
program?
We use Blackboard Illuminate.
Blackboard. Thank you. Sorry.
My guess is, and you can jump in back there, but if your county probably has some form of virtual classrooms, online learning that the secondary or something's using for virtual classes, it's the same platform, isn't it? Or I'll play this. There is a little video of this child at home, but I just wanted to. The first couple years we did this, it was pretty much bedtime stories only. But now that teachers are comfortable, because you can say,
I did it from my home, so I dressed in my pajamas and then read the stories. And I actually gave my kids a keyword, so the next day that they came to class, they had to tell me what the word was, which not only proved to me that they not just logged on, they actually listened to the story, and they really liked that, because they came in that morning and were ready to tell me exactly what the keyword was. So
that's what someone said. We have never tried it, and I don't know if there's a number limitation, but I know like at our homes, we work in an area that is very much socially or economically disadvantaged students at our school, and one of the things is parents usually have a phone or something, and we get more buy-in for this program after school hours. It's crazy. And you'll have they'll type in down at the bottom, that's not the live screen, but they'll put Jennifer / Sam / and they'll do
they're talking to each other.
First, second, so the whole family gets online. And what's kind of even cooler, I think, is you can tell that the parents are sitting with them, not so much the 5th graders, but the littler ones, because when questions are asked, somebody's typing it. And so the children are responding to the parents, and the parents are typing it in. So it's a really great family time.
5th graders can get a little.
We've used this for some
digital, but we'll have to tell them, all right, cut it out.
Yeah.
But it's really good because they are listening, because they are talking about when they come back to school.
So I missed it. Is this an app, or how did you create the stories?
Ebooks or
In the ebook, okay.
in this one, close your ears. It was a photocopied book. We don't do that. This was the first year.
The app is Blackboard Collaborate. Yeah, just so you know.
There is an app. The difference with the app though is there's some things they can't see. Like they don't have the video part that the computers do. They can hear and they can see the book, but they don't see the person in pajamas. Okay. Let me play the little clip because this child is sitting in the kitchen eating a snack.
Yum!
create this with some second grade students. So,
As you can see, we've used shadow pictures, I noticed, and we're just basically, there's just different things that you can use, and so we use them over and over again because the kids get used to them.
and you can just do just about anything you think, you know, and the kids run with it. If you give them a little bit of leeway with parameters of what the end goal is, they go crazy. So there are, if you scan that QR code, which will show up again at the end, I included these next two tip sheets, or not tip sheets, but slides in there as well with some websites and some ideas of things we're doing, things we're using. I gave you the QR code makers, if you're not familiar with that, and the Vocaroo, which literally I went to, Veronica asked me one day, I want to do this, what can I do? And I said, Vocaroo is a website. It is as simple as plug that microphone in. And
Very easy. I mean, I just plugged the mic in, pulled it up, and after a while, and actually I had some of our fifth graders at the end, another teacher wanted to do it. They actually went down and got a couple of them to go down, and she showed them how to do it with her second graders. And she went through it. Two of my students actually went through and did the whole class for the second grade teacher.
so use your experts too in class. But again, this is just a bunch of different things that we use. Get Epic if you're not familiar with it. Be careful if you're not familiar with it. It is free to educators. So if you start signing up and it's asking you for money, you signed up in the wrong area, which I did. Because I don't read. And then some of the other things that we use in the school to promote digital literacy and stuff, and nonfiction and fiction things. Any questions or anything? Are you all doing any of this? Yeah. Well, I know you guys will. Awesome. Just ways to make, you know, especially the reluctant reader or the reluctant writer, to get them engaged.